Hey y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, French candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And we are back this week with part 2 of the Bo Gritz saga.
Bo Gritz, dose.
Look, if there's anything that I've learned from this podcast, in the world of politics, you can always trust a buddy, and you should always question a Bo.
Yes. We'll get it on t-shirts ASAP.
Oh my god, yeah. Whenever merch happens, we're both going to get always trust a buddy. And I swear to God, I am going to commission a little corgi puppy with the face of Robert Bork. And his name is going to be Bork the Unfaithful Delegate.
Oh.
There's a callback to our Alan Keyes episode for those of you who have been listening that long. Oh man. But so anyway, as a bit of a catch up, if this is your first episode listening and you don't feel like going back and downloading the other, totally understand. But we're talking about Lieutenant Colonel Bo Gritz. He served in the Vietnam War. He was a special ops guy for a while. And when he got out, he began an entire career of private invasions of Laos in research for prisoners of war who, based on John Kerry, John McCain, and Bob Smith, were never there to begin with.
Yeah, just repeated viewings of a less funny Tropical Thunder.
Oh my God, that's a very good way to put it. You could make a movie about this guy's multiple fucked up invasions and get sued probably, but it would still be very fucking funny.
Unless the protagonist was a Rambo character, in which case I think he'd sign off.
Oh, absolutely. And oh yeah, that is the other fun detail is Bo considers himself to be the inspiration of Sylvester Stallone's Rambo. But also I was doing a little more research. There are 2 other movies that he thinks are based off him, one starring Gene Hackman, one starring Chuck Norris. He also believes that the character of Hannibal from the A-Team is based on him.
Oh boy.
And there was another one I was reading today where he's pretty sure it was based on him as well. So this guy is very certain that he is just Hollywood's constant muse of inspiration. So we are now going to be catching up with Bo's story after his entire career of invasions of Laos has ended. He is no longer getting any money from anyone. He has duped Clint Eastwood, William Shatner, Ross Perot, Litton Industries, a weaponry company of great renown even today. He is grifted his way completely out of that grift, and he's got to move on. Which brings us to December 29th, 1985, New Year's Eve.
The penultimate day of 1985.
The day that we here in America celebrate by going out to the store and being like, I don't know, what can I afford for tomorrow night? What is the right amount of snacks to bring to a party?
Yes, sorry. The anti-penultimate, the day where you're just like, God, do I still have to work? Fuck.
I do have to work at the bar tomorrow night. Okay. And then, you start doing that time math of like, all right, I'll be out of there by 1 a.m. if I'm lucky. Will anyone still be at the party?
Who do I text first?
Yeah. So the penultimate New Year's Eve, where Bo has gotten a juicy bit of information. You see, it turns out he might have been looking in the wrong country all along for POWs. He thought he should have been looking in Laos. Turns out the correct answer is a country by the name of Myanmar.
Also, or Burma, depending on your country's political sway.
Exactly. Yeah, it's Burma if the sun never sets.
Yes,
and it's Myanmar if you're saying the name you want you to say.
Everyone else.
But yeah, and so it's during this time that he gets word that there is someone there by the name of Kun Sa who has an entire army of former POWs that he has bought on the black market at some point in time and has now enslaved them into forced conscription. And so Bo takes it upon himself because at this point he has no money. And so he gets on a plane with 2 of his friends, grabs a set of cameras and a polygraph machine, and flies to Myanmar to meet with Kun Sa. Now, the thing about Kun Sa is he's also a drug kingpin. And it's while he's there that he ends up getting a very tasty bit of information. You see, now that Bo had completely struck out of his 5 or so private invasions into Laos to save POWs, he had to make a choice. He could either move back into private life or begin anew on a project that would fulfill him personally. And instead, Bo chose option 3, general revenge.
Oh, no.
So as a bit of a reminder, after Bo came back from his 4th mission, which was a complete failure, but for a short time in America made him a celebrity and was viewed as kind of a success because he was the only one, quote, brave enough to go over there and save our boys, even if there were no boys to save.
0 boys.
Yeah.
No one was saved because no one was there.
Yeah, so he came back claiming he had photographic evidence and that he had 2 bags full of bones, and he swore they were full of POW bones, and he handed them off to the American embassy in Bangkok. They flew him back. And while he was in front of Congress giving his spiel about what he found in Laos, Richard Armitage, who is the Defense Department Deputy Secretary, said, no, these bones are mostly pig bones, and the ones that aren't are definitely 2 people from Laos and or Thailand who you stole. And eventually Bo was forced to say, oh yeah, I don't have any pictures. I was using the wrong light. I completely fucked it up. It was on the wrong setting. And
Not
so
even
clearly,
trying.
this meant one thing. Richard Armitage was working with the commies for his own personal gain, and saving all those POWs would ruin whatever deal he had made and whatever was going on. But Una, why would someone in the United States Defense Department want to completely betray our troops like that? And it turns out Kun Sa had the answer as to why.
Oh, good. A drug kingpin knows why.
But not just the drug kingpin. We do have to talk a little bit about Kun Sa. So Kun Sa was born Zhang Qifu in China, and this is the name he was known as for about the first 40 years of his life. His life is genuinely interesting as fuck. And so Kun had been born in China, but after Mao took over, he moved to Myanmar along with a few hundred other fellow soldiers of the Nationalist Chinese Army, who at the point were not exactly welcome in China.
Yeah, no, you want to get out of there right quick.
Kun would become their de facto leader. His militia would become strong enough that the Myanmar government would offer him a deal that if he fought the Shan State Army insurgent group for them, then Kun could legally make as much opium and heroin as he wanted.
Oh my God.
And that is a deal you fucking take. That is a good deal.
It's a crazy good deal.
So Kun would end up betraying the Myanmar government and fight for the Shan State Army after about a decade or so, which would lead him to being arrested for high treason. But the Shan Army would kidnap some Russian doctors and ransom their safety in exchange for Kun being released, which they did. And since Kun was still legally allowed to make all the drugs he wanted, he went right back to work. Between 1974 and 1994, it's estimated that 45% of the heroin brought into New York City came directly from Kun Sa.
Holy cow.
And that's probably because his heroin was, scientifically speaking, fuckballs amazing. It was rated as 90% pure and considered to be the best heroin in the fucking world.
Oh my God. It was like the Breaking Bad of heroin production.
Yeah, it's like he had a whole system. He had the fields. He had multiple factories where it was being made. He had a full fucking system making just the best heroin in the fucking world. He would end up maintaining a private army of 20,000 men. And at one point, the United States government would place a $2 million bounty on his head, also known as not enough fucking money to take on a 20,000 person army.
Oh, not at all.
That is a lowball fucking offer.
No, if any, you look at the 2 million, you laugh and you go work for Kun Sa. Do, unless you're an idiot.
That as a middle manager at a heroin factory in like a year and a half. I'm good.
I'm great. Got a couple of 8 balls. That's my pension.
Technically, it's a stock option, but it's only a stock option if you don't smoke it. That's what you do to heroin, right? You smoke it. That's what.
Heat it over a spoon.
Smoke opium. You spoon heroin. Thanks, public school. You've taught me all I need to know of. So Kun Sa by 1986 was one of the most powerful men in all of Southeast Asia, let alone probably the world. And if some shady shit is going down in Southeast Asia, Bo figured Kun Sa was sure to know. So after his initial trip in December, he would return back around June with his same group of dudes, a set of cameras, and the polygraph machine. And Bo walked right into Kun Sa's camp. Uninvited, unannounced, just showed up. And this was probably a bad idea for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The least of being that there was a grand jury in Las Vegas, Nevada that was in the process of indicting Bo on charges of traveling internationally with a fake passport.
Wait, what?
Yep.
How did he have a fake Why did he have a wow? What?
Una, he's an international man of mystery. You know that any spy movie, you're going to open up the safety deposit box and it's full of like 16 passports.
Yes, and it's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
However, it's like what you don't see is them opening it up and finding like an old Kinko's black and white photocopy of your actual picture that's just been like stick glued onto the inside.
Look, sir, I don't want to question your passport, but it appears to come from a nation that you only find in Netflix Christmas movies. But Bo, in his mind, he had a good excuse for traveling anyway, and that's he was doing it by direct request of the Reagan administration, or at least that's what he told reporters at the Oklahoman in 1987. So Bo showed up expecting to get Kun Sa to admit that he had all of these POWs as his slave army. However, Bo quickly found out that that was a complete and total lie, just kind of part of the cult of personality rumor mill that ends up going around people as gigantic as that.
Yeah, probably started by Bo like a year ago and he just forgot.
Yeah, Bo does have a habit of creating lies and then immediately believing them. In an interview with the San Diego Reader, Bo takes a whole paragraph to wax poetic about how he had to fight the urge to take out Kun Sa. Quote, I noticed the throbbing vein in his neck and thought how easy it would be to rid the world of its most infamous drug lord. I could break a stack of bricks. Kun Sa's neck would snap like a twig.
Okay, but also, why did this man not go into writing romance novels?
Oh my God, yes.
The throbbing vein in his neck told me everything I need to know about his personality.
Bo walked up to her, seeing her in her whalebone corset, thinking to himself, I could break 7 whales. This corset is doomed. Sorry for getting everyone horny there. Thorough apologies.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, my Bo Gritz fan fiction can wait for no man.
The world has to know.
Yeah, but also that is some real around the campfire drunk bullshit that you would get.
Yes. Yes.
If I was the reporter for that, I would have such a hard time just not saying it. Yeah, sure, Bo, sure.
Yeah, you just stand there being like, do I have to quote this verbatim?
I get it, dude.
Because they're going to think I'm the bad writer. And I'm trying real hard for a Pulitzer.
Oh my God. No, that Pulitzer walked away years ago. Yeah. You are interviewing Bosif Gritz. It is.
I got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah. The San Diego Reader seems to be San Diego's alternative newspaper. So I'm pretty sure the guy writing this was having a great fucking time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
As for the interview with Kun Sa, Bo would tape the entire 2-hour exchange. And apparently Kun Sa was just so impressed by the fact that he just walked in to like start grilling him that he's like, fuck it, let these guys stay. My day was boring.
Yep.
I got 2 hours.
This man is no threat to me. Let's have some fun.
I'm going to show off my neck vein and just drive him nuts. So during that time, Kun Sa would chain smoke and claim that the United States government was actively partaking in drug trafficking. Not only that, but he directly implicated a pair of CIA agents, CIA Deputy Director Ted Shackley, Mafia Don Santo Trafficante, and the ringleader of the whole thing, Richard Armitage himself. So according to Kun Sa, in the 1970s, Richard Armitage and the CIA worked within the drug ring to fund anti-communist targets in Laos. Kun then claimed that Armitage would create the Far East Trading Company as a front to continue trafficking opium throughout the 80s, with the explicit aid of the CIA. Bo connected the dots and figured out that his private raids into Laos had the potential to unearth this conspiracy. And that had to be the reason that Dick Armitage wouldn't want him snooping around. Now, it should also be noted that based on the research of Alfred W. McCoy, that it was found that the CIA was complicit in the heroin trade in Southeast Asia, but not to the level that Kun Sa was telling Bo. According to McCoy, quote, Kun Sa is a master manipulator. He can fool anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to essentially be the ringleader of the Golden Triangle and be an idiot. You have to have some charisma.
Yeah.
Like, if you can chain smoke in front of people and no one tells you to stop, you are a powerful, charismatic person.
You don't manage to use the hostage situation of a couple of Russian scientists to your advantage in your own drug empire by being an idiot.
So one of my favorite things that Kun Sa repeatedly did throughout his tenure as drug kingpin of the world is he would offer deals to entire countries. So say in America, the war on drugs happens. And we're all complaining about heroin. And this is a deal he actually asked Bo to take to Reagan. He said he would gladly sell his entire stockpile of heroin and opium to America for $50 million to do with as they pleased. They could completely destroy it if they wanted, and to completely eradicate heroin use in America for a full year.
Ooh.
Yeah. And of course, they were always like, we're not going to fucking do that. And he's like, but if
No,
you
we're
genuinely cared, you might want to.
We're not going to have a paper trail of us literally purchasing all the heroin in the world.
Well, he made these
Stop
deals
it.
publicly. Like, he didn't make them sneaky. They were always completely fucking public. He did it to the Australian government at one point. It's clever. And if it was like weed, I would be like, we really need to talk about this guy a lot. He's definitely murdered a lot of people, and he's definitely not a good person. But that single story in and of itself, I gotta kind of respect.
Yeah.
So Bo would send his videotaped interview directly to the White House. And shortly after, Bo's friend, David Scott Weekly, who had been one of the two people who accompanied Bo to Myanmar, would be arrested. So funny enough, Weekly had also been hired on during Operation Lazarus Omega, which was Bo's fourth mission to Laos, and considered to be kind of his most successful, sort of. And Weekly was hired on specifically to make poison darts for the mission. His nickname? Dr. Death.
It's not even, no, that's not clever.
So
So annoying.
No, we gotta sell this story to Hollywood now. Dr. Death, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was around then, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So the thing is, Bo viewed this as a direct retaliation against him for showing the United States government that he knew all about their schemes. And sure, they didn't directly arrest Bo, which seems to be the thing that you would do in that case. But arresting a close friend might be enough to scare him away from doing any further investigating. To the US government, though, the reason for arresting Weekly could not have been more clear-cut. Quoting Assistant U.S. Attorney Steve Koratosh, there's really not much I can say other than the record's pretty clear as to what Mr. Weekly did, which was ship 200 pounds of explosives from Oklahoma City to Las Vegas on a commercial airliner.
That's so dangerous.
I mean, how?
Yeah.
How is a big question I have. Was it in his luggage?
Dusty, you and I are old enough to remember The halcyon pre 9/11 days at the airport.
Yeah. The day if you were a complete weirdo, you could just walk into the airport and watch airplanes land.
Yes, could just walk your significant other to the gate. Now you have the excuse to like not give them a ride to the airport because what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, you could bring a whole bunch of shit onto an airplane.
yeah. Beautiful times, man.
But I just
Yeah.
love the idea of explosives in what? Like a soft duffel bag? Like
I mean, I hope
where it
it
could just
wasn't a
get wrapped
carry-on.
around.
I mean, your nickname is Dr. Death. Maybe send that shit UPS. I don't know. Now, Weekly would claim that the explosives were for training 2 Afghan resistance fighters at a camp in Nevada, which apparently was a side hustle that he'd started with Bo Gritz, that they were training Mujahideen soldiers from Afghanistan who were fighting against the USSR at the time. And
Right.
they're just like, come to Nevada, we'll teach you explosions.
Yeah. One, another great lie. And two, if it were true, yeah, how'd that work out for us?
Yeah. Also, I mean, yeah, if you're going to do that, it makes sense that you would send 100 pounds of explosives apiece, since there were only 2 people they were fucking training. So Weekly was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years in prison, which led Bo to believe that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms at the ATF would be banging down his doors and the doors of his friends at any moment. And this appears to be a defining moment for Bo, the moment in which his allegiances shifted from the US government to against it, or at least what it had become in his eyes. Gritz would state that he now found that he had been, quote, brainwashed by the government.
There's not enough in there to be brainwashed, my friend.
Look, I don't know how many times the government has to tell you, no, we don't need your help before you get the hint, but apparently getting the hint is being like, y'all brainwashed me, I'm going home. So one of the rules that we've set in place for this podcast is we don't ever want to mock the mental health of someone we discuss. One of the sad side effects of this topic is that you get a ton of people with various mental health diagnoses who end up becoming perennial candidates. And now I'm not implying that Bo Gritz has a specific diagnosis. I took like 2 quarters of psychology classes before I switched my major. I am not qualified. And even then, those classes were Psych 101 and child and adolescent psychology. I am nowhere near qualified to diagnose a full-grown adult. But when we start falling into the world of conspiracy theories, it carries a bit of a slippery slope. So from here on, I want to make sure that if we're making jokes, that it's mocking the theory and not the man behind the theory.
100%.
All right.
Yes.
Hopefully we don't fuck that up. But here we go. 1987. With the government not just turning their back on Bo, but charging him with using a fake passport and outright disowning him, Gritz began to delve deeply into the world of conspiracy theory. Bo's media appearances shifted from the strictly POW MIA discussions and more into Bo outright denouncing the government. He began to make friends with luminaries of the conspiracy world, including a guy by the name of Lars Hansen. Hansen's specific milieu of conspiracy focused mostly on the US government, and more specifically with the JFK assassination.
A classic,
Look,
always.
It's a nice one to go into. You have a sizable cohort. You're already standing on the shoulders of giants there. You can build your portfolio from there.
It's definitely a gateway conspiracy theory.
It really is. I mean, because there's some really fun ones out there. Like Kennedy wasn't shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. He was killed by returning fire from the Secret Service. That's a fun one. There's someone who claims that the driver turned around and shot JFK.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, a ton of magic bullet theory. It's kind of a fun one if you want to get really deep into it, just because there's a lot of people who just do not want to accept the fact that someone just shot JFK and the reasons will not really be known that well.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help when the assassinator ends up getting assassinated himself. It's a whole bit of fun. Yeah, one of these days we should do the JFK assassination, because that is...
There was a great commentator on conspiracy theories, and I might have heard this listening to the first season of Slow Burn when they were talking about the Nixon administration, because they did a whole episode on conspiracy theories for, I guess, Nixon. And basically just how conspiracy theories suddenly really took off in the 70s. And someone commented on how JFK assassination conspiracy theory mushroom clouded in proportion, because it's hard for humans to grasp that something with such significant outcomes could have such an insignificant start. It was just a guy with a rifle. Absolutely. That's it. Yeah. It's no, but you killed the leader of the free world and JFK, and my brain can't handle that. There has to be more. Marilyn Monroe needs to be involved somehow.
So after Bo started diving into the world of conspiracy theories, he became very close with, like I said, Lars Hansen. So close that Lars would recollect a night where Bo called him out of the blue to excitedly read him passages from a book called The Gods of Eden. Now, this is a seminal conspiracy text that postulates that an ancient race of alien serpents have enslaved the human race via secret organizations such as the Illuminati.
An alien race? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's lizard people. Lizard people is a very popular conspiracy theory. And on some David Icke, or at least his old stuff, Now that he's on like InfoWars, he can't exactly be talking about how the queen's a lizard.
Oh, she just talks that way because her parents and parents were slightly German.
No, no, that is not the case. That is a snake accent. I could pin it out at any point in time.
Listen, just finished The Crown, so I have a lot of words. We will move on.
So the thing though is, despite his sudden shift into hardcore conspiracy, what was still a hot commodity, especially among the more conservative people. So when the relatively new Populist Party called to offer Beau a spot on their 1988 presidential ticket, it really wasn't that much of a reach. The problem though is, well, everything about the Populist Party. So we discussed the Populist Party a bit in our two-parter on the 1991 Louisiana gubernatorial election episode, but I don't think it could hurt to go into a deeper dive on these chuckle fucks. So first and foremost, this version of the Populist Party has nothing to do with the other three populist parties that existed before them.
Just a populist party to get started.
It's an extremely common name in America.
Once you populist, you don't stop.
God damn it. So this incarnation would be founded in 1984 by a fellow named Willis Carto. So the PR description of Willis is that he was a veteran of World War II who earned a Purple Heart in the Philippines after being shot by a sniper. He would go on to found the Liberty Lobby, an organization he ran from 1955 to the organization's death in 2001. The accurate description of Carto is he was a fucking Nazi.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yep, dude fought in World War II, but by 1979, he'd formed a group called the Institute of Historical Review with the sole purpose of disproving the Holocaust.
Oh no.
Willis also spent his time actively writing to politicians to encourage them to, quote, repatriate African Americans back to Africa.
Yikes.
So that one was kind of a weird one because people didn't find out about it until there was a pair of journalists who were just going through all the mail of various congressmen and stuff of things that they didn't want to read and wasn't classified. And they just repeatedly kept finding letters from Willis Carto asking this.
Amazing.
And when they published the article, Willis sued them. And of course, they won the case and it ended up becoming one of the most cited cases up to 1997 when it came to establishing laws against frivolous lawsuits.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks. Many thanks to Willis Carto for that. Many not enough thanks for the sniper who missed. So what better to do for young Willis than found a political party in the mid-80s? And like so many other things in his life, Willis would lose control of the party almost immediately after forming it.
Oh, I love it.
It seems like Carto had a real issue with maintaining friends and often would piss them off to the point that they would stage hostile takeovers to take away the various newspapers, organizations, and groups that he had founded.
Oh, jeez.
The problem, though, is that the folks who nearly immediately took the Populist Party over immediately shifted its focus to absolute white nationalism. So the party would kick off in 1984 with their first ever presidential ticket, former Olympian and Minister Bob Richards for president, and nutritionist Maureen Kennedy Salmon for vice president. So Bob Richards was, in fact, an Olympian. Specifically, he was a pole vaulter, and in 1948, he won the bronze medal in London, and then in 52 and 56 would go on to win the gold medal in pole vault.
Ooh.
Following the Olympics, Roberts made a living promoting physical fitness and was the first athlete ever featured on a box of Wheaties.
Huh.
Before that, though, Bob had been ordained as a minister in the Church of the Brethren and continued to preach even after his pole vaulting days were done. And just so you know that this dude wasn't just a preacher of a kook church, one of the members of his church he preached to was a young Billie Jean King.
Well, damn.
It's noted by multiple people that between his preaching and his messaging on the importance of physical fitness, he had inspired a whole generation of people. Well, white people. Specifically white people. Because what people didn't really know about Bob is that he was a complete white supremacist.
Oh, no.
There isn't much publicized of his beliefs when he first ran, but Richard's most recent racism came in 2010 when he publicly backed the American Third Position Party, which was a party that ran entirely on the basis of white supremacy. There were no other planks. It is just white people.
And specifically the supremacy of.
Exactly. Yes. White people, supremacy.
Yikes.
As for Maureen Kennedy Solomon, she wasn't so much of an outward Nazi or racist, but more of a medical quack. So during her career, she became the foremost speaker on bullshit alternative medicines, mainly ones that were supposed to cure cancer but absolutely didn't. For example, in 1977, she led the charge for the FDA to approve Latrial as a treatment for cancer. Latrial is a marketing name for amygdalin, which can be found in apricot pits, amongst other things. However, the problem with amygdalin is when you ingest it, it kind of has a habit of turning into cyanide.
Yeah.
So she would end up publishing 4 books, 2 of which promised to eradicate the fear of ever getting cancer, just from maintaining her specific diet of foods, vitamins, and minerals. Towards the end of her career, she would produce about 1,200 different cures for various diseases and things just based on food, vitamins, and minerals. And this is weird because Maureen would die of pancreatic cancer in 2006.
Oh, the irony.
She was also against the fluoridation of water, was an anti-vaxxer, and huge surprise, she was never trained as a nutritionist and got her 2 major degrees from diploma mills in Scotland and California.
Wow. Yikes. I I was expecting to hear of an MLM in her name.
Oh my God, I'm kind of shocked she never founded an MLM. She would
Yeah.
have been set if she did that.
I mean, I feel like she helped lay the groundwork for MLMs to thrive.
Oh my, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're if there was going to be another Trump term, we were probably that much closer to getting a Latrial, oh my God, MLM company. Hey, it's only going to kill you if you take too much.
Put
So,
like put like straight from the FDA if it were a Trump administration.
so keen not to say the quiet part loud, the Populist Party stressed that their primary focuses were on abolishing the federal income tax as well as the Federal Reserve Bank, while promoting the idea of charging banks tax based on the amount of interest they charge, which honestly, based on the Nazi bullshit that started the party, feels kind of like a big old dog whistle to me.
Yeah.
The thing, though, is 1984 was a year in which it was terrible to run for president for anyone other than Ronald Reagan, especially considering that the Democrat candidate, Walter Mondale, was only able to score wins in his home state of Minnesota and D.C., historically one of the worst defeats in the history of America.
It's a very sad map to look at.
Overall, Richards and Salomon would score 6th place with 66,000 votes and 0.07% of the national vote. Yeah, which is still far too much.
That yes.
So when 1988 rolled around, the Populist Party was ready to get into second gear. They needed a pair of folks that could get their base excited and out to the polls. So in 1987, party founder Willis Carto reached out to Bo to run as their vice president, which Bo accepted. Now, I'm not exactly sure how much of a relationship the two men had prior to their call, but based on what followed, I'm pretty sure Bo may not have known Willis at all. And granted, this is me being really generous, but I think what happened is he got a phone call from a guy he didn't know, asking him to run for vice president, and he immediately said yes.
Yeah.
So you see, the big issue would come when the Populist Party announced who their nominee would be. According to Bo, he accepted the nomination because he was under the impression that the nominee would be Ohio Congressman and future train wreck James Traficant. The problem, though, is the white supremacists at the Populist Party had other plans, and those plans involved nominating KKK icon David Duke. We're back. Yeah, if you want to dive into more of this, hop back to episode 2 and 3. It's a sad time, and then a fun time, and then more sad times. But it's a great way to learn that you can always trust a buddy. So Bo wouldn't drop out immediately, but he did drop out of the race fairly quickly, calling Duke's nomination, quote, bigoted garbage dumped into a perfectly good container.
You know what? Good on you, Bo. You're absolutely right. Like you're not blinded by the fame.
Well, when asked by the San Diego Reader why he didn't drop out of the race the moment Duke got the nomination, Bo said the following, quote, you got to realize a soldier is not into this kind of thing the way people are who are not in the military. I didn't know anything about the John Birch Society or Carto or the Ku Klux Klan. And the San Diego Reader makes a point that this answer is still disturbing for a completely different set of reasons.
Yep. So were you just following orders then?
Yeah, I mean, there is a speech that he ends up giving that I referenced later at a church in San Francisco, where he essentially just says that soldiers live in a completely different dimension than civilians, and he refers to keeping up with the news as trying to paint a train as it's going by.
What?
Yeah, that he doesn't have time for history or the news just because so much else is going on. And so that kind of fits in line with him being like, Ku Klux who?
I want to talk about soldiers in a different dimension.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi technology.
Yeah. Star Wars is real and it's now.
I think we all know that Bo was based on Time Cop. All right, I'm moving on. Anyway. So Bo's conspiracy husband, Lars Hansen, has probably one of the most brutal and honest statements about Bo's temporarily running with David Duke. Quote, this guy who has so much strength and decency and courage and conviction, just tripping on his dick almost every turn he makes. So many people who have so much reverence for the guy agonize over watching him do these things that are, and there's no other word for it, stupid.
And this is a man who wrote essentially like the Bible of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, he's like, if you're the most well-respected professor in JFK assassination theory, comes out and says, you step on your dick, dumbass, stop it. Yeah, it's very brutal. So Bo would stage a small campaign attempting to run for the presidential nomination of the American Independent Party in California, but he would end up losing out to party founder and trucker James C. Griffin at the convention. And sure, his political career is starting to look not so great. And that's all the more reason to try for a third time in the same year. That's right. Bo is going to treat the political system like a poorly planned invasion of Laos.
Yeah, this is Lambert Omega presidential.
But I will give him credit. He does set his sights a little bit lower for his third try, this time running for the U.S. Congress in Nevada's 1st District as a Republican. Now, this race would be a bit of a doomed campaign, mainly because the 1st District includes all of Las Vegas, which is very heavily Democratic.
Yeah, but there might be 2 votes from Afghani soldiers looking to be trained on explosives.
Bo Gritz taught me two things: how to blow up 100 pounds of dynamite and how to vote.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a race that no matter who was running as a Republican, pretty much all but guaranteed an easy win for Democratic incumbent James H. Bilbray. But stranger things have happened, and all Bo would need to do is beat out his main challenger, County GOP official Lucille Lusk. So Bo would hire a guy by the name of Mike Triggs as his campaign manager, a man that Lars Hansen referred to as, quote, a real screwball.
Again.
I completely see why someone like Lars Hansen could convince people of a conspiracy theory, because this guy is a hoot. I don't know much about him aside from these quotes from the San Diego Reader, but if this is him as a person, I would at least have 3 beers with him.
Absolutely. And then by the end of the night, get on board with whatever he was selling.
Man, you're right. Iron and Contra was run by lizard people. Oh, Lars, you're the best. You're my best friend.
Why can't there be lizard people? Why am I denying myself that fact?
Look, I could believe something fun, and I will have another shot of Jaeger. Thank you. So what happens after that, once again, is best described by Lars. Quote, Triggs began bragging of having once been a drug dealer, and I'm standing in Bo's kitchen thinking, what? Then in the middle of the campaign, Triggs goes to jail for 30 days for misuse of a rental car and writing bad checks. Bo totally alienates the Republican hierarchy. They went out in a special news conference to publicly endorse Lucille Lusk over Bo right before the primary. And that's how Bo Gritz lost to Lucille Lusk by 1,400 votes.
Oh my gosh.
And shortly thereafter, Lucille would just absolutely get her ass handed to her by Congressman Bilbray, 64-34.
I love to see it.
Yeah, it's just, you think he would learn to tuck and roll after stepping on his dick so much?
Or from basic training.
It's like, Lars is such a good friend that he would be willing to tell you this stuff. Like, hire Lars to be your campaign manager.
Yes.
Dude's not going to misuse a rental car, which I don't even know what that means.
Think of the pull quotes he would be giving to journalists alone.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing. I mean, you're not going to win the race, but he's at least going to get you a little more public renown.
Yeah, you're going to have fun.
So whenever Una and I decide to run for public office, Lars, give us a call.
Please do.
So it'd been a hell of a year for Bo. But 1989 would also mark a bit of a turning point for him. Firstly, Bo would have the passport charges dropped after U.S. Attorney William Maddox discovered he'd actually charged Bo with the wrong crime. I'm not sure what the right crime was.
Yeah.
But after 2 years, they're like, oh shit, I filed the paperwork wrong.
But was he using an illegal passport?
So Bo made it kind of sound like he had gotten a bunch of different passports from the Department of Defense for his various missions and the like.
Oh, like how they're, okay, like how there are diplomat passports, government passports that have a different coloring system.
Yep,
and
exactly.
Okay.
So when asked after the trial why he brought Bo to trial despite charging him with the wrong crime, Maddox simply said, George Bush called me up and told me to go get Bo Gritz. So this is an actual quote, not from Bo, but from the U.S. Attorney. So Bo takes this to mean he was 100% right, and Kun Sa didn't lie to him. Because like one of the bigger things behind this too, and I think I talk about this later, but it's probably good to bring up now, is this is around the time that he starts to develop a strong dislike towards George H.W. Bush. And it's because he starts to think that George H.W. Bush might actually be the ringleader of this heroin operation in Southeast Asia. Because do you know who was running the CIA at the time of that supposed heroin trade?
It was Walker Bush.
Yeah,
or wait, no,
George Herbie Walker.
George Herbie Walker Bush.
Yep. And so Bo starts to think, oh, this guy really wants me in jail. Clearly he's the ringleader. When all it probably was is the government being like, we cannot keep sending people to Laos to apologize. They're going through enough. We can't keep apologizing to a communist nation. It is looking bad for us.
Please, we're focused on Iraq now. Stop it.
One of you idiots is going to die, and we are going to have to trade money for your corpse. I do not want to do this.
I can't raise taxes to pay for this.
I made a promise with my mouth. It was very memorable. So this would also be the year that Bo would release his first book, entitled A Nation Betrayed. A title so vague and dumb that if you type it into Amazon, his book's not even on the first page. So the book featured an artistic depiction of the face of the Statue of Liberty with a single tear, presumably crying over the betrayal of said nation. And the book was tagged as, quote, the most shocking saga of the century. Early editions of the book were published in a plastic comb-bound paperback, sort of like what you would get in study packets in college.
I was just going to say, this doesn't bode well.
But they would eventually be moved to the world of big boy books in 1991 and actually get a hardcover release.
Ooh.
So finding the summary of the whole thing is pretty hard to come by, which makes sense. It's a book about a conspiracy theory. You can't exactly put that down into like a 2-sentence byline.
If you could, you would realize that was all bullshit.
Yeah, if your conspiracy theory does not fit into an elevator pitch, you might need to rethink it.
Mhm.
But based on a lecture that he gave in 1990 at St. Mary's Cathedral in San Francisco, the focus seems to be about the MIA POW issue, as well as bringing up everything that Kun Sa had wove to him back in 1986. So, as his book began to circulate, Bo also established the Center for Action, which seems to have placed a strong focus on his conspiracy theories, but primarily was the governing body behind what Bo would call, quote, the first shots of the Second American Revolution, a conference he dubbed Freedom Call 1990.
I hate all of this.
So from July 22nd to the 24th of 1990, Bo planned to gather, quote, pro-American groups from all over the United States to meet in Las Vegas. It was meant to be both from the right and the left, coming together to discuss ideas and to come together to find solutions. As Bo described it, and I apologize, this is going to be a long quote, but I love it. We're going to stop squabbling about the things we don't agree on, and we're going to focus instead on the major problems facing this nation, and the solutions, and the things that we will agree on. And then as a unified body, something that the beast fears more than anything else, a unified America, will take 2,400 splinter groups, because that's how many we've identified, 2,400 separate pro-American groups. Not a one of them has a voice loud enough to be heard in Washington, but all of our arms are too short unless we do it collectively to get our arms around this problem. But if we can just get together. Now, the convention will be to define the problems and the solutions. You know as well as I do, as soon as people left Las Vegas and got back home and put on their slave clothing and went back to work, they'd probably forget. What's wrong with that?
God.
Their energies would be drained. So we have a method. I'll describe it later. His method is an internet message board, which in
1990, that's revolutionary.
It's a solution and it's expensive as fuck. For 1990, I don't know how you're going to make that affordable for everyone who's taking part in this. So we have a method that is going to network, coordinate, communicate so that none of you who are part of this second revolution will be alone in any battle that you may fight. And that collectively, we will restore our birthright as Americans. So in the end, yeah. So that is one of the fun things reading, because this was a transcription of a 90-minute lecture that he gave at that church.
Oh, man.
It rambles. Like, it just does not stay on track. And I'm sure it sounds better when you're there in person, when you're listening to this guy who's full of like gusto and machismo. But just reading it, it's just like you keep saying the same thing, just kind of differently for pages.
Kind of differently. And I still can't stop hearing cheesy paperback novel fan fiction. It's like their arms wrapped around the second revolution. They never wanted to be alone ever again.
You know, I can just hear George Washington at Valley Forge. All the soldiers are starving and freezing. And he kneels down to one and says, all I need is your arm. And all you need is your brother's arm. And eventually we'll have enough arms to wrap around this problem.
We have 24,000 individual arms right now.
Then
we need to come together.
So in the end, Bo would actually get a really unique group of people to show up to Freedom Talk 90. One would be a mysterious man he alludes to named Rife, who claimed that he could kill the AIDS virus via his two greatest inventions, a microscope so strong it can see viruses, and a radio wave that makes the virus destroy itself. Of course, it was dangerous bringing this man in because he had already been completely kicked out of the industry for solving a problem instead of making money off of it.
No words.
He would also invite Eustace Mullins, who is a rabid anti-Semite and a neo-fascist.
Oh my God.
He also invited conspiracy theorist Barbara Honegger. She is most known for creating the October surprise conspiracy theory that focused around the 1980 election, where the theory was there were a number of hostages being held in Iran. And her conspiracy theory is that the Reagan campaign contacted Iran and asked them not to negotiate with Carter until after the election was done, because if Carter was able to get the hostages out in October, it would give him a boost and potentially win re-election.
I can see how I can see the merits of that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's a good idea. The problem is it has been roundly disproven multiple times.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also wouldn't put it past Reagan. I could see them maybe thinking it over, but not doing it.
Yeah.
Which is the problem with these conspiracy theories, is that they're based on things that people talk about but don't do.
Or just even like the intricacies and minutia of diplomatic channels for that alone. You don't just get on the phone. I don't know how it works, which is why I'm listening to this conspiracy thinking like, yeah, okay, I buy it.
Yeah, it's credible. Another guest would be John Stockwell, who is a former CIA agent and current CIA critic. Now, John had a bit of a different experience with Freedom Call 90. John's a bit more on the serious side, where he talks about actual things the CIA has done and why they're not good. And so when he got there, he said it was the first time he had ever met Bo Gritz. And after listening to what everyone else was talking about, he immediately separated himself from the whole affair.
Deuces.
Yeah. Here's what I have to say. I am the fuck out of here. I'm going to go gamble at the airport. But the most bizarre of all the invitees would be a fellow by the name of Father Bill Davis, a Catholic preacher who founded the Christic Institute. Now, while that name might sound extremely culty, at least it did to me, the Christic Institute was actually an incredibly respected legal group that took on a multitude of high-profile court cases. They were founded by the legal team behind Silkwood versus Kerr McGee, and if you've seen the movie Silkwood, that's what it's based on. If you haven't, Silkwood is about a female chemist who was working for, I believe, a power company of some sort. But she was also one of the union leaders there and was raising a lot of concerns about the toxicity of the things that they were creating. And at some point, she ends up dying in a car crash that was under very mysterious circumstances and is kind of believed to be that she was run off the road by the company that she works for. Yeah, there's a really good movie called Silkwood. I believe it stars Meryl Streep as the
Oh, say no more.
Is the title character. And so they initially were the people who were focusing on the Silkwood case that resulted in the Kerr McGee company giving the Silkwood family $1.8 million as a settlement, but still refused any sort of wrongdoing.
Right.
So this legal team would later represent victims of the 3 Mile Island nuclear fallout, the victims of the Greensboro massacre, where neo-Nazis and KKK members killed socialist and communist party members, as well as other students, and also represented the La Penca bombing in Nicaragua. So while the Christic Institute was much more of a far-left organization, they and Gritz found a lot more common ground in their distrust of the federal government. It also didn't help that the Christic Institute was beginning to face criticism of leaning more towards conspiracy theory-based lawsuits rather than ones with enough evidence to prosecute. It would also be noted that by the early 90s, anti-fascist and anti-war activists began to see this as a sign of a growing trend that they'd been noticing. Essentially, what they were seeing were there were far-right ideologies reaching out to the far left under the guise of being anti-war, anti-government, and anti-corporate. And so using these ideas to then sneak in anti-Semitic and racist ideologies as an attempt to sway activists to their side. But before we get to that, I think we need to take a small mental break, Una. Because in 1990, Bo would attempt a new career.
A new one?
Yeah, it's one I didn't expect, but I probably should have. Because in 1990, Bo would appear in his first movie. So in 1990, he appeared as Lieutenant Colonel Steele in the movie Rescue Force. And if you haven't heard of the movie Rescue Force, so has most people not. So the movie was directed by Charles Nizet, or Nizet, I don't really know. And he only made movies between 1968 and 1974 that can be best described as a mix of C-rate horror and sexploitation. His films include Slaves of Love, Voodoo Heartbeat, and Help Me, I'm Possessed.
Nice.
It's good fun stuff. It's like you're definitely going to see some top nudity. There's going to be a lot of fake blood, and you're going to have to change it to another channel every time your parents walk in the room.
Amazing. Listen, many directors got their start in campy horror flicks.
That's a really good point. Like James Cameron. James Cameron's produced making Piranha 2.
Sam Raimi.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, so Charles could pull this out. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine, right, Charles?
Yeah.
Right?
So between 1974 and 1990, Charles did not make a single movie, but he would come back with a script that he had wrote himself and was ready to direct himself, called Rescue Force. And yes, Una, it is available to watch for free on YouTube. And of course, the whole thing's filmed in the desert of Nevada. That is clearly Charles's backyard. And yeah, of course, it supposedly takes place in the Middle East. See, the movie tells the tale of an American ambassador to somewhere and his daughter who have been kidnapped by Palestinian terrorists, and only the rescue force can save them. That's right, super soldiers Kelly, Kiki, and Angel are the only people in America bad enough to save the U.S. ambassador and his daughter. As for Bo, well, he plays Lieutenant Colonel Steele, which I could kind of appreciate. He doesn't want to play anyone higher than the rank he currently holds.
Oh my God.
And he's the very man who calls the rescue force to save the day. Never mind that someone ranking higher than Lieutenant Colonel would probably be making all the calls no matter where you're the ambassador of.
Or that's not really like a call, like the way you see in Charlie's Angels, where it's literally like someone calling up and being like, hey, go do this. And then everyone's like, you got it, boss man. And they go.
Yeah. It's the president being like, the ambassador to Bermuda has been kidnapped by terrorists. We need to have a plan in an hour. I want spreadsheets. I want Word documents. I want schematics. But no, you leave that up to a random lieutenant colonel that you have hundreds of, and they will send their rescue force. So Bo would essentially play himself, and by charisma alone, he really isn't that bad. He's just saying words as if he wrote them. But with his ability to be able to believe any lie he tells himself, that's kind of a good thing to have as an actor.
Yeah.
That being said, I maybe only watched about 5 minutes of the whole thing, but just like the promise we made for The Libertarian So Bad It's Amazing movie alongside Night, when this episode hits 100 listens, we are absolutely doing a special episode on Rescue Force.
Yes, we are.
But sadly, this would be the only movie where Bo would act.
Oh.
It's a real heartbreaker, but it's also, compared to everyone else in the movie, Bo Gritz should not be your best actor. Which brings us to 1991. This is where shit starts to get uncomfortable. You see, 1991 would be the time that Bo, I think, would realize things can't just be movies and stardom and being on the speaking lecture tour, especially when the
Growing
world takes a
up.
very strong turn for the serious. See, in 1991, George H.W. Bush would declare war against Iraq due to their invasion of Kuwait, bringing about the Persian Gulf War. And as I said before, George H.W. Bush had kind of become his newest enemy compared to Richard Armitage, which is now 2 on the list. And Bo viewed Bush declaring war as only one possible thing: Bush's attempt to create the New World Order. Now, Una, are you familiar with the New World Order or the idea behind it?
I think I'm familiar with the band.
Yeah, most people, it's either the band or a wrestling period between
Oh, amazing.
1995 and 2001.
Yeah, definitely the band for me.
So, for those of you lucky enough to be unfamiliar, the New World Order is a conspiracy theory implying the desire of an evil force that wishes to create a central government for the entire world that gets rid of nation states, gets rid of local government, just everything is run through one central government for the entire planet. For some, this means an antichrist that snags control of the whole world, a la Revelations. And for others, this means the UN assumes government control of the world, despite the fact that their greatest power is strongly worded letters.
Yeah. Isn't there also, doesn't a lot of like anti-Semitic dog whistling come with calls of New World Order?
Yeah, I think the whole Protocols of the Elders of Zion is kind of like a big text about the New World Order, but specifically it's just like, oh, the Jews are going to do it. And it's just, it kind of all depends on what shitty ideology you're based in.
Right.
But just like the anti-fascists had predicted, Bo's sudden anti-war stance made him the flavor of the year on many left-wing radio stations, specifically Pacifica Radio, which is based in California out of Berkeley and is nonstop left-wing talk radio.
Ooh.
So this not only allowed Bo to have a sudden anti-war stance, but gave him the opportunity to warn of the New World Order, but to do so from the perspective of his newest faith-based philosophy, Christian identity. Now, this is where things are going to get real sad, because before this time, Bo's just kind of been a dick-stepping, bumbling tryhard, and at this
Yeah.
point, things are getting dark.
Oh, no.
So the Christian identity movement sprung up in the 1920s as a split group from British Israelism, which is a mode of thought that declared all people from the British Isles to be the true descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, not the Jews.
Wow, that is, wasps, you already have everything. I don't like just stop. This is a grab too far.
Look, you always want the one thing you can never have. And being Jews without the persecution or the history. It's, we want to be the direct chosen people of God, but we have to do some brain gymnastics to make that a thing.
Like, have the church. You have your own church. You have Church of England.
Yeah, your church could have just made that up if it wanted. It
And you're all
didn't.
and I mean the hypocrisy of this, knowing that they're already persecuting the Irish as this is going on.
Yeah, honestly,
I tell ya.
it's a little impressive they let the Irish in on this. I'm a little surprised.
Northern Irish, I
Oh,
guess.
God. But yeah, like if you're gonna like the founder of the Church of England was like the king of every glutton ever. If he wanted that to be a thing, he could have made it a thing. But
Yeah.
he didn't. Henry VIII, while being many things, was not completely fuck stupid.
Yeah, it's like, what? No, fuck out of here with that.
I want
That's
6
dumb.
divorces. I want to yell at Anne of Cleves for not being pretty enough.
Oh, I want to eat a turkey leg the size of my head.
And us, being Americans, British Israelism just won't do, because America ain't Britain no more. So we got to make it ours. And so a fellow by the name of Wesley Swift took liberty with a couple of rewrites, which is something you always do not want to hear about a guy who is described as both a KKK organizer and a close partner with previous Gadfly subject Gerald L.K. Smith.
Yikes.
So the basic foundation of Christian identity is that all white Europeans are the descendants of Abel, and everyone else from people of color to Jews are descendants of either Cain or the fucking devil himself.
This is also adorable, knowing how shifting white European has been throughout the ages.
Yeah, but guys, we can't just say white. It's going to include the Jews if we just say white. It's going to include the Russians if we say white.
It's like, it'll include the Sicilians if we just say white. Like,
wait, is Italy Europe yet? I can't remember.
Where do the Greeks stand again?
Oh man, give me a second, because there's, as shitty as it is, of course they have a list of specific people
No.
who did it. No, don't you want to know who's on racist clause good list? All right, so the people who fit Europeans are people who are Germanic, Anglo-Saxon, Celtic, Nordic, or Aryan. So yeah, I think that kicks out Italians. I don't know if Italians count as Germanic. It definitely includes the Greeks. But
Yeah, I guess like parts of northern Italy, and they would probably want to be counted as that instead of southern Italy.
I mean, for many reasons, this makes me happy. It's not my ideology that I don't have to think about this every day, but also that I'm not a dick.
I'm impressed that they threw in the Celtics, frankly.
I
I feel
mean,
like
that almost feels like a trade that had to happen.
yeah.
So, of course, white supremacists fucking loved this. It essentially became the de facto religion of the Klan and other sort of far right racist organizations. Not only did they now get to claim purity by skin tone, but they could also declare a direct lineage to Abraham himself, and all of the most important biblical figures descended from him. And where this shit gets even more dangerous, though, comes from the religion's endgame. While most Christian visions of Revelations imagine a giant world war in which the literal Antichrist fights the literal Christ, wherein the Christ wins, followed by a long peaceful rule, followed by the complete end of the world. For Christian identity people, they believe that during the tribulation, all people of color and Jews will be exterminated or enslaved to serve white people during the reign of Christ. You know, Jesus stuff.
Yeah, that's some real turn the other cheek shit right there.
And so now that this has become Bo's religious theory that he is following,
Oh no.
what could possibly be a better time for him to return to the Populist Party and run for president?
Oh, bigger and better.
Which is what we'll be talking about next time on the
Oh my
final
gosh.
installment of the Bo Gritz saga.
Ah!
Yeah, I'm so sad of this man.
This is turning into a tragic tripartite.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, how has your opinion of Bo shifted? Like, did you have that much of a high opinion of him to begin with, or is it more
No,
just like
no, I
you're a
didn't.
bubbling dumb fuck? Like,
It wasn't even bubbling dumb fuck. It was more just like I just get exasperated when conspiracy theories enter the mix.
yeah,
To say nothing of the real latching on to like an A-team Hollywood mentality.
you know, I was just thinking how much fun it would be to make a movie about Bo Gritz, but it's told entirely from the Loughton point of view,
Yes.
and Bo is played by Kevin James.
Yes.
Like, I think he wants to act eventually. He did make that one horror movie this last year.
Oh, that's right. He hasn't quite been in the scene that
Like,
much.
I think that would be great. Just like an occasional appearance of Kevin James running through the woods, trying his best.
Yes. And Laos dealing with, all the things it was actually dealing with during the 70s and 80s of
Yeah, like that could actually be a really good movie, which we are copywriting now
yes.
on the podcast. That's how law works.
But also, Hollywood, call us.
Yeah, like this is as good as taking a script and just mailing it to yourself. We're good. That's my lawyer in the background, Laverne. She is barking at you to let you know that Kevin James movie belongs to Una and Dusty. Well, on that note, it sounds like Laverne needs me right now, so I think we should call it a time here for Gadfly. But something I realized I've never brought up? I've never done like that YouTube thing at the end where it's like, hey guys, if you like our show, please tell your friends. Leave a review on iTunes.
But you should also tell your friends. And if you don't like this, you should tell your enemies.
Yeah, tell that libertarian person that you're
Yes. Like there's a home for you.
I feel like half of our listeners are libertarians and are very good sports if they're still here.
They are putting up with a lot. They're putting up with a cranky, boisterous, non-comedian woman who is telling them that they're dumb for being libertarian.
Such is life. One day, maybe when Ricky Dale Harrington runs for president, we'll probably both have a different tone. But until that
100%. I will eat crow until the day I die. I'll gladly do that.
Well, that being said, yeah, definitely, let your friends know. Leave a review if you want. Please don't feel pressured to. But we cannot wait to conclude this story with you guys next week on Gadfly.
Yay!
Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.